Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Pat Chamberlain.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com. And I'm joined once again in studio with Mr. Pat Chamberlain. First and foremost, before we begin our show tonight, sorry, I'm just kind of finishing up some last minute stuff. It's been a little bit of a busy day, as many of you already know. But just wanted to finish a couple of things here. Just make sure we're ready and good to go, and we're set up. And I think we're just about there. All right. So, first and foremost, I want to say to everybody who either reached out or, sent us some love or in whatever way, supported us with Anastasia's surgery. Thank you very much. It did go well. It was a little bit more involved than originally. I don't want to say planned. They were prepared for. And Luigi made a comment. Thank you, Luigi. I really appreciate that. They were prepared for anything. It was just kind of like they ended up having to do all possibilities of surgery. Her leg had to be, her femur bone, her leg bone had to be shortened about a centimeter, so they did cut it and then put a plate and screws in. They got it back inside the socket, and then they had to put pins and wire in there. So she's got pins and wire, she's got plate and screws. She's in a cast from about here down. One leg completely covered, the other one about to like just above the knee. So it's, and she's about 20 months old. So, I think, right, at this point, 19, 20 months old. So, yeah, so she's not obviously very aware of what's going on. She knows that she can't move. She knows that she's in some pain. She doesn't understand. So, obviously it's a little bit of a shock, but, she'll adapt and she'll figure it out. But all in all, she's handled it pretty well. The first night, obviously, kind of sucky. Today, during the day, she was pretty good. Just kind of the normal stuff. She's thrown up a few times, and getting her to keep her medicine down has been a small challenge, or not the worst challenge, but a little bit of a challenge. But she's home. She's upstairs. She's upstairs with Nicole and my mom and dad, so she's in good hands. Yeah, it went well. It's just a lot, Obviously, it was a long day. We got to Boston Children's Hospital at like 7 a.m. Yesterday, and it was just all day. We didn't speak to the surgeon until about 4 o'clock, I want to say. So, yeah, it was a long day, and it was pretty involved. So, but went great. A little bit of a journey ahead, but we'll get through it. And the biggest upside is the two things is A, we fixed her problem, and B, she's so young that hopefully she doesn't really even remember this, so it's not going to be traumatic for her down the road. So, all in all, good procedure. But yeah, so that's it. But had to squeeze this one in because of scheduling constraints regarding the show, and her surgery date was moved around a few times, and within itself, it was planned. I don't want to say last minute, but a lot of things were already in place when her surgery was scheduled, and I tried to minimize the downtime. So we're still doing the show tonight because then we won't see you for another 2 weeks, and I don't like to go for an extended period of time without shows. So we're here getting this one done. Not going to be super deep. We kind of covered a lot of stuff on Saturday with spare notes. Obviously, there's some new things and some new announcements that have come up since then. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about the fire at AJ Fernandez and how that's going to kind of impact a lot of people. That's a bad one. We'll get into that. And just kind of wrap up our predictions and pre trade show stuff for the most part. So And then that'll be it. And we'll go to New Orleans, and then we'll do a post report, and we'll talk about what actually was seen and heard and went down in New Orleans. Some people say it. New Orleans.
So I say it.
Is that how you say it?
Mistakenly.
New Orleans.
Because I don't know any better, so.
Yeah. I remember. Do you watch Trailer Park Boys?
I have seen episodes of it.
So Trailer Park Boys, for those who don't know, it's on Netflix now, but it's a Canadian show, and it was on like a Canadian channel, and then it got really popular, and then the three main people on the show actually, I don't know, they bought the rights to the show or something like that. That's kind of like what happened, and then like they brought it back and they did more seasons, and then they did like special seasons, whatever. So they did this one. They did like this spin-off season where like they play themselves, but they leave the trailer park and they go like there's one season they go all over Europe, and there's another season where they go all over the U.S. And for anybody who knows the show and knows the characters, there's Bubbles. You know about Bubbles, right? He's got the thick glasses, and he sounds like he's kind of mentally slow, but he's ironically the smartest guy in the group. Like seriously, he's smarter than the other two. But there's an episode they go to New Orleans, and he's like, "We are going to Nolans." And he's like, "That's how cool people say New Orleans." I never like it. Always stuck with me after that, but it was kind of funny. But my first time down there. Hopefully it goes well. I hear a lot of things about New Orleans, but either way, it should be a good time. And Boy Wonder, Mitchell will be there. The Asian sensation, the Canadian from the north, which I don't even know. Is like, well, no, I guess it's not really a problem. But he should be okay coming down here, right? With all the things going on between us and Canada, there's no restrictions. I feel like we would have known about it. Should be all right. I didn't really think about it. I'm like, hope Mitchell doesn't run into any trouble while he's down in what they're probably looking at as now enemy territory.
Well, he has a passport, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he'll be all right. I should tell him, though, like, Mitchell, what if you get detained here and you're like a hostage? Mitchell will do like the, I don't think it'll be an issue, but yeah, you know, that would be crazy. I'll be like, you can come live with me. If you can be free, you just can't go back to Canada. You can live with me. I'll sponsor you. Be like, I got this one. He's mine. Ah, man, that would be great. But no, it'll be a good time. Next year, though, yeah, for sure. Everyone should be at the show. I let Nicole talk me into doing 2 people. That didn't pan out very well. So, as you can tell, I'm like, why are we doing this again? Well, I feel like we can cover it. And I'm like, okay, you know, we don't have to do that, just so you know. But next year, everyone should plan on being at the show. I'm throwing it down now. Mark your calendars. The dates are out there. Everyone's going to be there. But no, it'll be a crazy time. Well, a few things before we get too deep into conversation. I want to mention a few people that help make this show happen. First and foremost, Two Guys Smoke Shop. Or the number 2guyscigars.com. I'm smoking the Tatawa, which is not available at the number 2guyscigars.com, but I'm smoking the Tatawahe Konyu 2012 Reserva, the broadleaf. Perhaps one of my favorite cigars. Perhaps my favorite Tatawahe cigar, but one of my favorite cigars. I know what you're smoking. You can, if they're in stock, you can get those at the number 2guyscigars.com as well. You got the Papa Saka over there from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust.
Yeah, I got the Mi Querida Black Papa Saka. I was actually gonna have a El Puplo or Puplo. Is it Puplo or Puplo? I always fuck that up.
Oh, it's El Pupo.
Pupo, yeah.
I think.
Something, yeah, whatever. Yeah, everyone knows what I'm talking about, and everyone
The
probably
octopus
says it
cigar.
the same way I say it. Yeah, the octopus.
Yeah,
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
and that would have been fitting for the AJ story, but I wasn't making that connection. So Papa Saka it is.
Yeah, that's true. They're definitely one of the people impacted by that fire. And as always, we're using our Dupont accessories. And we got the new monogram collection from SC Dupont. The line 2. Pat's got a line 2. He's got the biggie. He's got the cutter. We got the whole collection. SG Dupont, shake up the legacy. They have some cool stuff coming out at the show next week. They have a Forte Opus X collection. Very, very limited. Very pricey collection that's coming out. at the show. There'll be a grand unveiling with Carlito and all the brass from Arturo Fuente. They're also doing a collaboration with Fender Guitars. They're gonna do it, which they've done. They've had a Fender collection before. They're gonna do a Fender collection. They're also doing something with, was it Warner Brothers?
Yep.
It's Warner Brothers, right? Because then they posted. I thought I saw them post something with Superman.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that must be some sort of teaser, because I think like all the Superman and all the Marvel stuff, I think that's all like Warner Brothers. So I don't know. Maybe they're doing something with all their superhero movies, or that's part of it. I don't know. But and then there always could be a surprise. You never know. So it'll be a good show for SC Dupont. But yeah, getting to the show. I mean, we've talked a lot about it already. We've talked about some of the stuff that's coming out. I'm going to open up the website really quickly just to kind of refresh my memory on the newer stuff, because I was able to find downtime in between everything this week. So as I did, I was able to get some stuff out on the website just to keep up, so we wouldn't get too far behind. But let's see here. There's still not a crazy amount in terms of announcements like 3 years ago, but I feel like, and I could be wrong, I feel like we're doing better than last year. I think we got more announcements than last year. I think we've officially passed last year for amount of things coming out at the show. Based on the amount of announcements we have, and there's obviously stuff at the show that will not be announced until we get there. So I think we're at the safe point to say that there's more stuff this year than last year. Placencia. So I thought this was interesting too. Placencia, they're going to be doing 5-packs in the Alma series, which are cool. Not tubos, not fresh packs, just 5-packs in boxes. Where I think do I have a picture of it open? I don't think I do. I thought I saw a picture where it's basically like they're in there and it just slides out and they're just like 1, 2, 3, not tubes or anything like that. They're just kind of like in like a cardboard sleeve that just slides in.
Yeah, basically they're doing what Crux does.
Yes.
Which they make Crux, so. But it's not the same kind of box. Oh, it's the same box, but it doesn't open like Crux does, like a...
Well, Crux also, they do what? Like 10 loose and then two 5-packs in the box?
Yeah, so it's box like of 20 and then 5 in the...
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm not shocked that Placencia is doing this, because they make cigars that do it.
And it looks nice.
Yeah, and I mean... is it going to really be like a big grab and go thing for people? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see
at that price point. Because, I mean, remind me, and if you know off the top of your head, price point on each of those three.
Well, the Robusto is a 19, a single, last I checked. So if there's 5 of those, you're looking at with there's no tax. So
well, in New Hampshire, but other states, I mean, there might be tax, but yeah.
There will be probably around like 100 to like 125, yeah. So
a pricier 5-pack, to say the least.
Yeah, so grab and go wise, I don't know. And plus, I mean, you gotta look at I'm curious what the MSRP is on the dot, if there's any value.
Oh, you know what? I do have it. It's right here. Yeah, 116, 107, 107, 98, 85. So yeah, I mean they're it's good price. Yeah, MSRP 23, 23, 21, 21, 19, 17.
So
yeah.
I don't think there is. I'm just curious if there's. Let me do a little maths. When I say me do maths, I mean type in a calculator, because I went to law school, because I can't do math.
But I thought lawyers were supposed to be good at math. And
we can do simple addition up to 3 digits, and then at that point you need to call somebody else.
How do you guys figure out all that money you charge people?
We have people for that.
You have okay. The billing department?
Yeah, that is. We also just pick random numbers that look good.
What do I owe you? I don't know. Let's call it 10 grand.
That's why we do.
It was a speeding ticket.
That's why we do retainers. It's just because we don't want to do math. It's like, give me 4 grand, you're good.
Yeah. It's like the old, when they come out to your house and they're just like, you want a price now? $3,200. It's like, oh, all right. Where did you calculate that number from? I just kind of threw it out there.
So there's no deal according to that.
There's no discount by buying it in packs of 5, like a box price. Yeah.
Well, I think the 10 counts. I don't know what the uniform is, but a lot of people do 5% off if you get the box of 10 or 10% off.
Box of 20. so on. Yeah. But yeah, that's something that came out on yesterday. Actually, that went out yesterday.
That's either going to do really well or not well.
I like the way it looks, and I like all those cigars. So like, I'm like for it. But you're right. At that value, like how many will they sell?
And I don't think fresh packs would have been the move for them because I don't know actually. I don't know. It's tough. Like that's the kind of cigar that you just think of a fresh pack and you're like,
it waters it down.
Yeah, you don't like that how that looks in your head, but also people will spend buy 5 with no discount if it's a fresh pack because of the convenience. Because that's truly the convenience factor. So I'm curious how that does. I mean, Plasencia sells well, at least like from my perspective at Twins anyway. So I think everything that Plasencia does is gonna sell. They could do like a 6-count box and it'll sell, right? So it's, I mean, I guess we'll see how it does.
Yeah. The other thing that came out that I thought was interesting, this was actually accidental. So Oliver had sent out a staffing press release, which I kind of shelved for the moment because with my limited time, I wanted to work on just the releases for the show. But I went to open it to read it, and then one of the nurses came over, and I kind of got distracted, and then I closed the window, and when I reopened my email, I went to something that I saw from someone else, and I didn't even read it. And then I got another email from him, like, within a few hours, I think. It wasn't too long after, and he was like, oh, sorry, I guess everyone knows, like, what we're releasing at the show now. And I was like, wait, what? So I went back to the first email, and he accidentally sent a press release for this. So at that point, the cat was out of the bag, but they're going to release a new Bandolero called Bandolero Premium at PCA. It's using a Golden Habano 2000 wrapper from Ecuador. The Bandolero Premium has a blend of Dominican and Peruvian fillers and a Dominican binder. The line is available in 3 sizes: Magnificos, a 6x55, which is $38, a $32 5¼ x 52 Bravos, and the Ironicos, or the Ironicos, $24, 4.5 by 50. It'll be packed in lacquered boxes of 25. So they're going to have nice dress boxes, 25-count boxes. And kind of pricey, because I can't remember the regular existing Bandolero, the price point on it. I know it's not like $8.
They're more than you think they are.
But it's still like 17, 18, 19 bucks, I think.
Yeah,
these are a lot more. These are into like the Atabey and Alfonso Byron territory.
Yeah.
Which, judging by the premium name, which I think is a little misleading because the existing Bandolero, that's still pretty premium. Like,
yeah.
So I kind of feel like putting that label on this is like, well, this is the premium version. I mean, those other ones ain't bad. I mean, those are still like.
I didn't like the marketing scheme for that one. And I like Bandolero, so I'm happy they're doing something with it.
It's a good brand that I think needs more love.
Yeah, I'm curious how this does though, because you don't often see Habano 2000. And
No.
I've heard mixed things about the Habano 2000, so I'm curious how they utilize. I mean, because they're not going to make a bad cigar, so they're using it for a reason. And actually, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show. Habano 2000, and then people hear like Corojo 99, 98. So there's different types of numbers, and people might be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" So what you do is you take a seed and you develop it. So you crossbreed them with other seeds. And then the year that you get that seed is the year that they give. So, like, for instance, like Aganorsa does Corojo 99. That's one of their popular ones. They have Criollo 98. I think the Corojo 99 is Habano and Corojo because Corojo was difficult to grow in Nicaragua initially. So they took the Habano because it was more resilient. So I don't know why I went on that tangent, but yeah, that's what.
No, I mean, it's good information.
Habano 2000. I don't know what they crossbreed that with one. So
there was something else. What was I reading? There was someone else who's using something that's a hybrid wrapper, and they went in deep about it in the press release. Actually, I thought it was interesting. I can't remember which one that was.
Septimo.
No.
Talking about going deep.
They don't even know what they have. They're too busy aging their cigars out in the elements and selling them for like $150. Wasn't that one? It'll come to me one of these because I remember reading and be like, oh, that's interesting. and because they like really talked about it. But yeah, so Selected Tobacco has the Bandolero. Now, the United Cigars, their distributor, they just launched the Gold Star, which Oliver was on a few weeks ago. We talked about that. You didn't review it. Gracie reviewed it. So that's been out there. So right now, I think under the in total United umbrella, I mean, there's the Gold Star, which is already out, but they'll probably be kind of pushing that. And now they have it's on the Selected side with Nelson Alfonso. They'll have this Bandolero. So unless there's anything else going on with Selected from any of the other brands, which I don't think there is.
No.
This will probably be it for them. And I agree. It'd be interesting to see kind of where that goes. Let's see. What else is kind of an interesting one? I mean, there's been some line extensions. There's been some like packaging stuff. Hoy de Nicaragua is going to introduce the Antonio Connecticut in the Grand Console size, which I believe they already use with some of their other lines. It's a 4 3/4 by 60, like almost like a Bellicoso.
Yeah, it's like the same size that Saka's doing from his Vault series. The Total Size Diaz double wide Bellicoso.
Oh,
it's
that's
like the same.
That's interesting. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I think Hoya took the molds out again. It's what that one seems like to me. But
I mean,
well, the regular Antonio has the Grand Console size.
Right. So they're bringing it into the Connecticut line.
Yeah.
So
well, this is limited, I believe, isn't it?
I think it is. Let me double check. I think it is because it's only going to be for their what do they call the Club de Amigos accounts, which is like their preferred accounts. You know, the higher volume.
Yeah.
You know, like their specialty accounts. It's only going to be for them, I believe. 250 boxes right here. 250 boxes, and it's going to be for all the Club de Amigos accounts. I gotta have the bull inside the lid. That's kind of cool looking too. That's really cool. And I like the Antonio Connecticut line. They have the Lonsdale size, which is also kind of limited. That's not like a one. I mean, they make it. They just don't make a lot of them. But I love it in that size because that's one of my favorite sizes. Fabrica Oveja Negra, by way of Black Label Trading, is adding the Toro size to 3 of their lines. So the Last Rites, the Lawless, and the Royalty will all be getting a 6x50 Toro. Line extension there. You know, that's one of the smaller factories and brands that I really enjoyed the last few years. We had James on the show last year. It was last year, but was it early last year, late last year? Actually, I think it was after the trade show. So I want to say maybe over the summer. I can't remember. But he was on. He was great. I liked having him on the show. It was awesome to talk to him about some of the stuff that they've been doing. And what's funny is I actually just realized in the story I accidentally wrote this year's PCA show in Las Vegas. It's not in Las Vegas. It is in New Orleans. So I need to fix that. I apologize. Just fog brain this week, putting some stuff out. So that's cool. I haven't heard anything out of Dissident, which is kind of falls under their umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that they might be doing something for the show this year, but maybe not. It's another brand I've come to really enjoy the last few years, and I think that the new ownership with the Coburns, I think they've been doing a great job. Sin's really getting out there. Crown Heads is also doing what I believe is, if I read this correctly, they're rolling out a new look and introducing a new brand called the Crown Heads Broadway. So they have Crown Heads Broadway, which is coming out, and I believe they're repackaging all of their stuff.
Which I found funny because, I mean, it's not the same logo, but, like, if you look at this logo very quickly, it looks like Alec Bradley's logo. Just from, like, if I look at, like, the
I know what you mean.
Prinsato, like,
I know what you mean.
just look, and it has that kind of, it looks like there's an A in there, and then, but it's not. It's a C in the H, but it just quickly looks like Alec Bradley's.
The crown looks very similar to the Ashton crown.
Chat GBT, make me a cigar logo. Just kidding.
Hey, you know what? Anything's possible these days. I don't know what people are doing these days, but it's funny because I have an email from Andy Green. There's which I'll tell you what it is. I haven't written about it yet. But La Roma de Cuba, Connecticut, will be getting 2 new sizes. as well. So I think that's all that Ashton will have at the show. But they're going to be 2 new sizes in La Roma de Cuba. And that is confirmed. I haven't, like I said, I haven't written about it yet in my email.
See, if you look really quickly,
yeah,
it does kind of like
sort of. I mean, the C and the H are kind of like one piece.
I know. It's a quick look.
The crown's different.
I mean, they weren't going for it. That's not what their intent was. Just if you look at it quickly, I thought it was an Alec Bradley at first, and I read the name, and I'm like, oh shit. I think the La Roma size is what is it? Churchill and Torpedo, maybe? In the Connecticut?
It's right here. That's what I'm trying to open. Yeah, it's going to be...
Bellicoso double Corona.
Yeah, Bellicoso double Corona. 5.5 by 52 Bellicoso and a 7.5 by 54 double Corona. So that brings their... wow, they have a lot of sizes.
Yep.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4... No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 sizes? Holy shit. So they got 9 sizes. Yeah, available 9 sizes. And it's funny because I think... no, that's a big lineup. That's a big lineup. Manufactured at My Father's Cigars, S.A. in Esteli, Nicaragua by the Garcia family. Don Pepin and Jaime Garcia. So yeah, that's coming too. Another interesting one that I thought was... well, not really... There's a cigar release attached to it, but I think the bigger story is the partnership. And Luciano and Empresa Madriense de Tabacos S.A. I probably butchered that second word there. They joined forces to form the Constella Group. So Luciano has now entered into his second partnership. As we know previously, delicately, his last partnership did not end well, which was with Crown Heads when he was Ace Prime before we ran into Luciano. I still think everyone's not 100% clear on everything that happened with that situation, but I'm not going to dig that back up again. But he's in his second partnership now, which is, I think, if I read this correctly, it's more so a European thing, because the EMT is more of a European-based brand, and I think they're going to be doing some stuff together in both markets. But I think it's more so to kind of help with them getting over into Europe. But they are releasing a cigar through this venture, and it's going to be called the... how do you say that? Eleve? Eleve? If I had to take a stab, I'd say Eleve.
Yeah, that's a...
I think it's Eleve.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
I mean, you speak some French, right? That's French.
Yeah, sounds like it'll be it.
Oh, at least I got that one. I think, hopefully.
No, I think you got that one.
10 count box. Limited edition, 6x54. That'll be out at the show through Constella Cigars. So I think that's he has a big unveiling or something. He's got a big thing that he's doing with people, which I thought that they would have maybe saved this for that, but then we got the email today, so I don't know, but it went out. But I think he's got something else he's announcing too, just under Luciano that he's doing that I think it's next week. I think it's like April 7th. He's got some big thing. He's got a Zoom call with people, and it'll be interesting. So I know there's more stuff to be announced, and there's always stuff leading all the way up to the day before. People are sending stories out. So I still think there's probably at least a fair amount of stuff to be announced. So I don't think it's going to be completely quiet this year, but I'm at this point, my prediction is busier show. Doesn't mean it's going to be a crazy busy show, but I think busier than last year. I know you weren't at last year, but you were at 23, and you were in a booth. But I mean, you saw the floor, you saw the traffic. I mean, that was probably the busiest show in the last 5 years. I think this 23 show. I mean, that show. A lot of retailers I spoke to, other manufacturers, and people like that. They were like, "Wow, this is a good show. It's busy. There's a lot of people here." Last year, change of venue, change of time. Think, kind of shifted people around a little bit. It was a quieter show. This year, moving to New Orleans, it's still spring, but I think we're seeing some more stuff now. Again, I don't think it'll be like 23, but it's going to be a busier show. than last year. So good stuff there. I mean, it's kind of the same. Not to make it too boring. Just a lot of announcements and stuff. Let's do our Micallef news, and we'll talk about the AJ thing. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars, featuring the new Color Series, black, red, blue, and debuting at the 25 PCA show, the Purple Series, which is a blend of the blue and the red together. So, sorry, I was pulling this back up in front of me. So, was it Monday? I think it was Monday. Was the fire at AJ Fernandez? It was Monday.
Yep.
So Monday, we'll kind of get into this. There was a fire at AJ Fernandez's factory in Esteli, Nicaragua, which I believe is the main factory, where a lot of cigars for the industry are made. General has cigars out of that factory. Altadas has cigars out of that factory. Artesano Tobacco has cigars out of that factory. Foundation has cigars out of that factory. Southern Draw has cigars out of that factory. A lot of people. A lot of people. Some of those other manufacturers have made some statements. I know that Foundation made one, and I put something out about it specifically because he didn't name specific brands in the announcement he sent out to everybody, but on social media he made some comments. I think it was like on Instagram or something. Someone asked him, so like, what's impacted? And Nick Melillo actually responded with, to name a few, and I'm guessing it means a lot of his stuff was lost, but I think the biggest impact was Tabernacle and Olmec.
So the thing about that I was concerned about, I'm wondering if he's trying to damage control it, is he uses that Connecticut broadleaf for his anniversary cigar, which would mean that he likely would make it at AJ's because they do the Tabernacle.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that cigar was impacted. He's just trying to keep it hush because that's a big deal.
Yeah, it maybe. Because I remember I saw the one comment and someone asked him, like, so what's mostly impacted? And he said, a lot of stuff. Tabernacle and Olmec, to name a few.
And that sucks, too.
And then 2 comments down, he was like, stock up.
Yeah, because Tabernacle, he had an issue with Tabernacle, like, in 2021 to 22 because of, well, I think everyone did. I mean, Drew Estate with the Ligas had issues, too, especially with the Habano because of the weather in Connecticut that year. So I feel like he just started keeping up with Tabernacle again, so it's unfortunate that this is another setback that he's facing.
Yeah, I mean, for him, yes, overall, I mean, this isn't the first time there's been a fire in the business. Last year, Fuente had a fire at their tobacco warehouse.
And then Adventura had a big one 2
year
years ago.
Year before that was Adventura, which they finally, I think, they just opened the rebuilt factory, so like they're kind of back to normal-ish. I would say that they're running into their new factory. So yeah, and then I think before that, Alec Bradley had a curing barn, or one of the, I don't know, they had a fire. Alec Bradley, before the sale, they had a fire that was like 2 or 3 years ago. And then there's at least one other fire that's eluding my memory. So in like the last 5 years, there's been a handful of fires that have impacted the business. This one I would say is probably going to be one of the more significant ones because of the impact it's going to have. I don't know. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of damage control. I think there's a lot of people who are not going to be so quick to name certain products, but at the same time, we're going to figure it out when they're not as available for a little while because they don't have the inventory. Because the aging room's burned. I believe they said that the packaging area, the packaging room, was where the fire began. So anything that was ready to go, being packaged, is gone. Their aging rooms were, I don't know if they were entirely destroyed, but even if they weren't, you and I know whatever's in there is gone.
Yeah.
The rolling room, there's pictures of the rolling room destroyed. So there's a lot of stuff destroyed in that fire.
That's why I hope that his anniversary cigar wasn't in there.
I know.
That sucks.
That would be a blow. Well, not only that, but Altadas has, I think,
their new
some big stuff coming. I think that's made in that factory. I think is the Romeo. No, not the Romeo.
No, it's another Upman.
The Upman, I think, is made in that factory. The new Upman that they have.
And the I want to say that the
La Boheme.
Yeah, that's the
new aging room.
Yeah.
The one I gave you.
Yeah, and it's very good.
That's AJ Fernandez, and I believe
Yeah.
I believe it has shipped. I believe it's shipped. I can't remember, but regardless, if it did, it only just started shipping. You know that they're going to be really trying to take orders for that at the show. That might not be as available now. So big, like you said, good point. Big releases. How does it, right before going into the show, where everyone's like, all right, we're going to go into the show. We got these. We're going to be taking orders, and now that inventory is gone. That sucks for everybody. I mean, even AJ, himself. He lost all that. I anticipate he's probably going to be trying to scramble his production to some of the other facilities that he has, which already do what they do. So, again, it's for everybody involved. It's a logistical nightmare, financial nightmare too.
It's like the only this
but
isn't like
holy shit.
This isn't good news, but when it comes to like your competition, like everyone's gonna get hit by it because everyone has a piece of.
Yeah, everyone who has a big product coming out that's not made at that factory is like, whoa.
I think the what you find out from this,
but it sucks,
is how big AJ is, because I think you're gonna find a lot of problems across a lot of brands that people enjoy. And it's because he makes so many of them, and I don't think people realize that, and they're going to likely realize it.
A lot of the Monte Cristo is made at AJ Fernandez as well.
Yeah, we could probably do an entire podcast just listing names of brands. Gurkha does a lot with them too.
Yeah.
In general, he makes a lot of people's cigars.
He does.
Karen Berger is another one that comes to mind.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, he does a lot for people, so it's
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and look, nobody got hurt or killed,
which is at the end of the day what really matters.
That matters. No injuries or loss of life. First and foremost, big deal. Great. Now that that's covered, what happens now? A lot of cleanup. It's. I think it's going to affect the market in a way, because you're going to have a lot of SKUs that are not available because made, ready to go inventory is gone, tobaccos are gone, place to make it is gone. So
especially I use Nick Murillo just because I am more familiar with how the buying works for that brand. But Tabernacle is like an incentive to buy, because if you get so much product, you get Tabernacle. So going into the trade show, if you don't have that option, how do you pivot that?
Yeah, and everyone walking into the booth knows it too. Like, oh, so, well, you gotta buy this. You get Tabernacle, and it's like, do you have Tabernacle to give me though? So should I buy so much? Which I understand both sides of the coin, and that's a very good point. But as much as it sucks for Nick, I feel for him. A retailer is gonna be like, well, I like your product, but I like to order a lot of A because I really want a lot of B. But now, if I can't really get B because it's not available, I don't really have to buy so much of A. I'll buy some, but I'm not going to buy enough, or at least as much as I normally would. So there's a lot of lost sales there. So yeah, that sucks. And Nick's a good guy, and they're a great brand. They've been doing some great stuff. It's going to sting. I have faith he can get through it. Ventura got through it, and they did okay. And their new factory is ready to go and all that. So I have faith, but yeah, man. Now, let me ask you this question in your opinion. How many, if any, just completely move production to another factory somewhere else just because, hey, you know what? I don't know, this is going to take some time. I got to get going right away. I got to go to another factory. AJ is only going to be able to do so much with this other stuff. I can't be shocked that some of these guys might say, I got to go to another factory. Sorry, AJ. It's nothing personal, but I got to keep moving inventory. But then the cigars change.
I don't think that'll be the case, because I think it's in the grand scheme of things, like the amount of time it takes to rebuild something like a brand at a different factory, getting the space allotted to make your cigars, getting the tobacco. Because AJ's curing barns, and that wasn't burned, right? So
right,
the tobacco, for the most part, it's just the finished cigar is what's impacted in the packaging, and I don't know what the labor is like over there, but I can imagine like fixing the rolling room would be fairly quick.
Hopefully,
right?
yeah.
And then the aging room, they can just simply morph another room into it if need be. So I think it'll be a turnaround. The question is, like, a lot of the cigars that are sitting there, like Tabernacle and the other brands, like the special cigars he's making for people, like, require a lot of time when they're finished being rolled. So that's where the issue is going to come in is that. And I think it'll be faster to have AJ kicking again than it would be to just move production someplace. And I think people would recognize that. So I don't think that'll happen, but there's going to be stuff that's going to be gone for a bit, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good cigars, too. A lot of good cigars. And it sucks, but, these things happen, and everyone has to kind of pivot. I think we'll when we get to the show and everyone's there, kind of get everyone's opinion and all that. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out, just through everyone, conversing and whatever, and everyone's going to get together and, like Nick and AJ and everyone involved, they're all going to get asked a lot of questions, and everyone's going to have kind of a different answer. I'm sure everyone's going to choose to answer differently depending on how much information they want to share. But I'm sure we'll get some more information in general when it's over. But yeah, it's not a good situation, and it sucks. And I do feel for everybody because it's unfortunate. Nobody wants to deal with that. But it's not the first fire in the business, and it probably won't be the last.
Definitely won't be the last.
And what sucks too about it is, like, you look at like the Dominican and Nicaragua, and like, they don't have like. Because you're always like, well, I don't even know if they know how the fire started. I don't know if it might be out there, and I just didn't really dig into it deep enough yet, just because like I said, I've been a little bit limited on my time this week. But like, I know the Fuente fire in the warehouse, that was electrical. I think it was electrical at the Ventura factory. Now, as an electrician, I can tell you, people are always so quick to blame the electrical. It's like the easy, like, oh, it was electrical. But in fairness, in these other countries, I know how vigorous it is to do an electrical installation in this country, and like the steps required to get it inspected and do things the right way. We have a code. People kind of know, but you look at these other countries, and like, I know, like, they don't have like the same standards that we have. So God only knows what kind of, like, construction quality goes in these other countries too, because like, oh, there's like always fires going on. It's like, well, yeah, but think about like where all these places are. There's no like Nicaraguan electrical code that I'm aware of. I mean, there could be, but it's probably not like the NFPA 70 that we use here. It's, you know what I mean? They probably, you know what I mean? It's probably not the same kind of stuff. They probably don't do things, So these things happen easier, and like a lot of these cigar factories, they're warehouses, and they're a little bit more bare bonesy kind of structures and buildings. And then you get curing barns, which are wood and straw, very easily to burn. So there's a lot of susceptibility in these facilities with these manufacturers, unfortunately, which sucks, which I think is part of why you see these fires. And then think about what's inside them. They're full of fucking leaves. So, I mean, and packaging, like boxes and paper and leaves. That's what's inside of all these places. So, you have a lot of combustibility. So yeah, it's a huge problem. And it sucks, but it is what it is. Oh man, I remember I saw that and I was like, damn. I knew right away when I saw AJ Fernandez fire. I went, this is bad. I didn't even know the details. I didn't even see the photos. I just knew. I'm like, this is bad. This is gonna be bad. But I know that they'll rebound. So anyway, hopefully we'll get some more information on that. Don't know how much more there is really to learn at this point, but let's see. Other than that, I mean, nothing that we haven't already talked about on other shows. So I'm kind of at the point of the show where I'm gonna say final predictions. I think we kind of know the key players, like what they're doing. Like we know what Saka's doing. We know what all the big guys are doing. Davidoff has, I think, a Xeno line, not a line, but like an extension, and they got the limited edition the 10th anniversary of the Oscorio, the black Davidoff Black Label.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think they have anything major. Drew Estate, there's rumblings that they have something special coming out, but not like a core line product. They have their Freestyle Live that's going to be unveiled next week. That'll probably be the main focus of the cigar that they're selling at the show. We still don't know what it is yet, but they call it Dominican focused. We'll see what it is. Altadis has a couple things. We kind of touched on that already. Some of it made at AJ Fernandez. General never announces what they're bringing to the show. They kind of hold it for the show. But based on past experience, they probably have a handful of new stuff coming at the trade show. So that's the big guys. We already know what Steve's got. The Newmans and the Fuentes usually kind of hold back for the show, so I don't really know what's going on there. Ashton's got 2 new sizes in Connecticut. Oliva doesn't usually make a lot of announcements either. I don't know if we're going to see anything big from Oliva. If we do, it might be some limited edition. That's my prediction. A limited edition, maybe a line extension or something. Nothing really big is my prediction for Oliva. Gurkha has something coming out, I think, at the show. They got the Year of the Snake that I think they've already shipped.
I believe so.
I think they've already shipped that, so that's already out. I think they got something new coming at the trade show. Perdomo Legacy, we know all about that. Nicholas was on last week. We talked about that. That'll be fully unveiled at the show, but we already know a lot about that. So, and then of course there's one of the smaller brands that got some stuff coming out, which is cool. But I think the big stuff we know. I think we know it's going to be a good show, busy show, sales-wise. The only thing we haven't talked about really is the tariffs. I know today I don't really know a lot about. I haven't followed it. I don't know if you have. But I heard, and I know that we had a comment here. Whoa. I know we did have a comment here about tariffs being in place. Yeah, Brent Hagen said, the fire now the 18% reciprocal tariffs on Nicaragua. So I haven't really looked into it yet. I don't know a lot about that. Like I said, I was very limited with my capabilities today. I have to read more into that. But just based on that, if that is the case, 18% reciprocal tariffs, imported products to Nicaragua, if I just take that piece of information that I know with nothing else, no other context, yeah, I bet you that's going to rub people the wrong way when it comes to buying at the show, because prices will probably go up, if maybe not on certain things right now, but definitely moving forward. Or maybe prices are going to be changed before the show because they know stuff's coming in and they're going to have to add. So prices could be being changed right now before the show or whatever. That could impact some stuff. Who knows? I don't know enough about that situation. But there's a lot of Nicaraguan brands. There's a lot of Nicaraguan cigars out there. So 18% is a good number. So that's not a small change.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. I know is it 20 or 25% on China? What were the ones that we already knew about? The big ones was China. China had a tariff. What was it? 20 or 25%?
It sounds right. Try to get.
Speaking with accessories, now this is one thing. I spoke with some accessories manufacturers, and I won't get into specific people in conversations. But the general consensus is, most of the accessories are made in China, so those guys are already looking at. I mean, our price is going to have to go up 25%. So, at the least, to compensate for the tariffs. So, and on accessories products, especially
54% on China.
54%.
As of 2 hours ago.
Oh, so it's going up even more.
He's imposing 54%, so maybe it's not in effect. Oh, in effect, April 9th.
Oh.
So yeah, that's coming.
That's new. Okay, so that changes.
It could have been 25, and it just doubled basically. So.
Yeah, so that changes. Again now too. 54?
Yep.
54. That's
I looked at 3
insane.
different medias for that number, so it seems accurate.
So, again, the accessories manufacturers are looking at all their stuff made in China. All the cutters and lighters that they got made over there. 54%. That's a
Just-
big number.
That's why you just buy a fucking line too. It's the same price now as
It comes from France.
Yeah,
If you're gonna spend the money, it's like
yeah, I think
buy a French
EU's only
lighter.
like 20% tariffs.
Now the thing is, the Line 2s, the Legrands, and
it's
are these
all-
made in France?
no. So the only
These are China.
yeah, everything's China from Dupont, other than which is kind of a misconception. I think a lot of people think that
It's all French.
it's all
It's
French,
not.
which it's not.
All the
unfortunately,
I can
but-
tell you, all the torches are made in China. The Line 2s and the Legrands are made in France.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they have other stuff made in France, but in terms of their cutters and lighters, I think it's only the 2 flip tops that are made in France. Everything else is made in China.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about a brand like Ellie Blue, probably the same thing. French company, but most of their stuff's
Yeah, I
probably
don't think
made in-
anyone really made. And then there's some like some of the maxi jets, like the special ones, like for instance, like the Game of Thrones. Those are made, I believe, in France, like the really special ones.
Yeah.
But most like the core line stuff is China.
I had only spoken to people when it was 25. So I'm going to have to rendezvous with everyone and say, hey, so now what are you doing? And they're probably all, But, I mean, quality importers. Palio, Zycar, it's all made in China. Wiesel, it's all made in China. Unless some of those guys are using Taiwan or something, or one of the other countries, but most of it's probably China. So, I mean, you're talking accessories.
Yeah,
Going up-
Prometheus is going to get hit hard because they
Yep.
have expensive products already from China, and now they're going to be. I think that their ballpark is like $100. They have like a soft flame that I didn't know about, like kind of like a pipe lighter. I think it's like $30. I was like, what? I didn't even know it existed. I think it's.
Oh, yes.
But
I
yeah,
did know about that. I forgot about it. But yeah, they do. They have something. But yeah, no, it's true. So it's like, what do you do? Do you ride it out and see if it goes away? Do you make a calculated change and then hope that nothing changes so that way you don't shoot yourself in the foot? I mean, that was the consensus I got from some people I spoke to already. It's like, do we ride it out and hope that this is temporary?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because like Keystone's 50%,
But
so you're basically taking.
You're basically
Keystone,
doubling your
so-
price.
Yeah, you wouldn't be if you don't change your price, you're gonna be breaking even. Which, I mean, I don't know. Like for instance, like the Vertigo Cyclones. Like I don't know this, but I would suspect that the profit margins on those are probably pretty high. So they might be able to absorb a little bit and try to ride some of it out. But like stuff like Prometheus and Dupont and those brands, I don't think if they don't adjust the price, I don't know how they would make a profit. So it's.
Especially now. I mean, 25%,
But then you also ask how
54, that's a lot.
you would kind of think, or at least hope. I mean, this was flirted with for well over 6 months. And like even before Trump was elected, he said this is something he would do. So me as a business person, I would have made sure I had production and stuff made and shipped and then backstocked. So
then maybe move my production elsewhere.
move maybe, but like just at least, I mean, we knew about this long in advance to where you could have planned to make more.
You should have been prepared.
And then try to, how long is it going to be in place? We don't know, but when it comes to riding the wave, like you could have probably had a game plan, so it's not like an ambush.
Right. Which you hope they did. I mean, I know about certain things that are coming that, are obviously not out yet. So it's like, did you already start production? Try to get that going before, you had to pay more money on it? I don't know. I mean, I don't know specifics on those things. It wasn't really disclosed to me. But I know that some of those accessories companies are like, oh, shit, what do we do? But to your point, I mean, it's not new information. Maybe it was more of a, well, let's see if he actually does it. Then it was like, oh, shit, he actually did it. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure everyone's in a different boat with how they try to approach it from whenever either they knew or they knew it was serious. I don't know. But I think that's who's going to get hit the most. The Nicaraguan thing, sure, that's That's a good chunk there. But the China thing with accessory companies, I mean, that's 99% of that market is all made in China, right?
Yeah, so I mean,
That's
accessories
a
are gonna be
that's a
big
hit.
deal.
That's a hit. And it'll be interesting to see when we get to the show, like how is that stuff being priced and sold? How much inventory do they have that's already outside of that window? I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot to be learned.
Speaking of this, this is another topic we can get into that I kind of found interesting. I'm not going to name the brand
Sure.
because I think this is kind of foul play. But
What, the discussion? Like this whatever you're bringing up, or just okay?
yeah, I'm not going to name the brand.
Is it going to be obvious?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't think people will guess. I mean, I think retailers will know who I'm talking about because they all probably got the same kind of message, but no. So this brand released something to retailers. I want to say it was on, what day is it today? Wednesday. It could have been Monday. I think it was Monday.
Okay.
And they said, if you buy today, here's a deal that we'll give you. In addition to, on top of the deal you get if you go to the trade show and buy.
Like doubling down the deal.
Basically. So
Okay.
two things. Like some of it you can say smart because you're getting people to buy their PCA order before they go to the trade show.
So you roll into the
you're
show
spending
already
your
ahead.
money
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So you're getting people when their purse is filled still. But I don't know if it was just offered to PCA members, but I wasn't a huge fan of that. Like, I mean, for like a
There's
place
multiple ways to approach it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big brand too. So a place like Twins benefits because they're like, holy shit, we get like this extra deal on. We were already going to spend like 15 grand anyway on them, so might as well do it now and get the better deal. But I don't like how it's usurping the point of going to the trade show. So I wasn't a huge fan of the tactic.
How big of a company is this?
It's one of the big companies.
Okay.
I could tell you after the show, but
I have a good idea of probably who it is, because I if it's who I think it is, because I've heard some things before. It's not anything new, or at least it's not. It's something they've definitely done before. It's one of two companies. I'll put it that way. It's one of two companies. I'm going to take a guess. And look, I get it. It's one of the big four, right? Yeah. So here's the thing with the big four. They're the biggest companies. They got the deepest pockets. They have the biggest arsenal of inventory and SKUs and all of the items at their disposal. They can do this. And they know, hey, listen, look, it doesn't matter which one of them it is. All four of them, you can buy their cigars anywhere and everywhere, all over the country, all over the world, mostly, most of them. They're everywhere. They can do this. And they know that most shops, not all shops, because there's some shops that won't carry any of them because of they're the big, there's shops out there that are boutique focused. And I get that. But most of your average cigar shops and lounges carry all four of them and many of their SKUs, right? And they know that. And they know that all their competitors do as well. So they know that, look, we're going to sell a lot of stuff. And we have a lot of different stuff available to pick from in terms of, like, you know, varieties of products, right? And they know the show's coming. And I've been told that at least one of them very frequently, specifically employs this tactic, and others have done it here and there. But they know, hey, right before everyone goes to the show, and they get their budget already figured out, and they already get their money ready. We're talking a week before the show starts. Oh, hey, by the way, we'll double down. We'll give you all this. Oh, really? Because they can. They can take more loss because they'll make it up. Now, Steve Saka probably couldn't do that. AJ Fernandez, maybe, but even at his size and without a fire impacting his whole situation, unlikely. But for them, sure, we'll take more discount. Because they know they'll make it up. Because they can. Not everyone, and that's why they do it, A. 2, let's get everyone's money before they get to the show and they spend it. So now when they get to the show, they have less money to spend on the competitors. And oh, by the way, we're rolling into the show with our big giant booth that we paid a shit ton of money for. It's already paid for, and we're already in the black. And then hopefully we open some new accounts and move some more product, and they're good to go. Perfect strategy. And to your point about, but I know what you mean. It's kind of like, it's like undermining everybody.
I mean, like business-wise,
I get it.
It's a smart tactic, but it's only a smart tactic because everyone else is respecting the approach of doing it at the trade show.
Now, the other thing that you mentioned, you said, is it only available to people going to the show?
So there's a lot of companies that I know.
That's another important part.
There's more companies that do that who offer PCA deals during PCA time, and there's people that can capitalize who don't go to the show.
Well, this is what's interesting about that comment. I'm trying to remember from when I've heard about this very, very specific tactic before. It might not be exclusive to people attending the show. Because I feel like some of the people I've heard it from, while they were people going to the show, they also heard from competitors who were not going to the show that they were offered the same deal. Not this week, but when this has happened in years past. And I think that that's also an interesting strategy because you have retailers who maybe they feel like they don't need to go to the show because they only really, their primary business is with the biggest companies. So like all the big four, then like you got like your next tier, like Rocky Patel, Fuente, Newman, the bigger of the independent owned companies, right? Not the big corporations that they're going to do business with. And maybe they carry like a small percentage of boutique stuff that you probably better go to the show for, but at that point you don't need to go to the show because you don't really do a lot in that business. So a lot of those orders can be done over the phone because you don't need to go to the show. So when you have a store like that maybe, hey, I'm not going to the show, well, you're getting the PCA deal and then some, and you don't even have to spend the money to go. So you're saving money by not going to the show. You're still getting the deal. You're stocking up on inventory and getting ahead. Of course it makes sense. And they're going to double down, and they're going to buy, and they are going to buy more inventory because they're going to get it while it's cheap. And they're not going to change the price. They're just going to make more on it. But maybe they run like a good sale where they do like, we're doing like, we're doing a 25% off sale or whatever it is. And they do, on some of that stuff. Some stores do that once a year. They do like a big sale. I know you guys have done it. I know Two Guys does it. And they're still making out ahead because they bought so much of it so cheap with that deal that they can offer a big sale and still come out way ahead. So, of course, it's a win-win for everybody. Now, I know what you're saying, though. It kind of like the first casualty of that is their competitors because you're taking money out of their pockets because now, I'm actually tempted to spend more money than I was going to with you because I'm going to get so much inventory that I know I'm probably going to sell if so facto they feel that they can move that much inventory. And that's going to be like, well, I was going to spend $20,000 with you. Maybe I'll spend $30,000, but now that's $10,000 that they're not spending with Dunbar Tobacco and Trust or, Ashton or, fucking, who else? It doesn't matter. But that's the thing. So now that's money out of their pocket now. So that aspect of it is true. But again, you're right. Business is business. So it's a smart business move. Right?
Well, yeah, it's only smart
to really break it down. I mean,
it's only smart because of the.
But I know that there's a company who does this.
You're supposed to follow.
I know, and I know what you're saying, because there is yes. However, the problem is, and I like all those guys at the Big Four, but when you're that big, you're not really afraid of maybe upsetting other people because.
See, I think you're thinking of the wrong company because maybe I misspoke saying it's a Big Four. It's a family named company.
So it's not so it's not one of General Altus Drew stated out of.
No.
Oh, okay, that's where I got confused because one of them has done this before. So it's not.
No.
Okay, so so that's where I was going with it. So now that's new information. That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
And it's one of those things where I don't know what the solution to that is, because I'm sure like the PCA is probably like, we don't really like that. Someone would do that. I mean, there's a bunch of. I think every year there's always kind of like some bad play with how like PCA deals are, because I like the whole point of it is supposed to be like you are a member of the PCA, you go to the trade show and you get exclusive deals at the trade show for attendance. I feel like oftentimes you're kind of finding that there's loopholes to that now, and from like the PCA perspective, you kind of don't want that, because you want people to go to the trade show and you want people to be members. So I don't know what the solution to that is, but I think that's foul play.
I know what you're saying. I totally follow along. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect me one way or the other, so it's kind of hard for me to feel skin in the game on it. But yeah, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I understand it. I know the point you're trying to make. It's a good point. It is a good point. And I don't even know who it is. It's not like I'm trying to defend anybody either. It's just, yeah, I know what you're saying, and it's good for some people and it sucks for others. It's just, but that's part of business, and that's why I say as much as everybody's competitors, they also work together in this business, but they are still competitors. Everyone has to eat. So, how you fill your bankroll is up to you, and you got to do what you got to do. And I think everybody knows that. So it might suck for people, but I think also, everybody knows, like, hey, they're going to do what they got to do, and it sucks because it creates a disadvantage for you, and that's true. But yeah, I get it. Sometimes some people, they do some weird shit, but it is what it is. That's part of this business too. I mean, it's part of any business, but this business also, there's a few players who do things like that. Before we wrap up the show, do you have some trivia for us?
Yes.
Do you have some interesting ones this week?
I could try to make them interesting.
Okay. There's no guest, so I'm gonna have to do them this week. So I'm getting my brain ready to exercise. I'm like 50-50 with these. Either they're easy or like they're not.
Get that big Perdomo banner.
I was just going to say, I almost forgot. Trivia brought to you by Perdomo Cigars, featuring the 30th anniversary Sanguine Epicure Cigar of the Year. Perdomo Cigars stand for quality, tradition, and excellence. That was a good show last week, too. I was surprised he gave us so much information for a cigar that hasn't really been formally introduced. I mean, they've talked about it, but they haven't, like, formally presented, you know what I mean? So, but, hey, that's cool. I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
All right, so I'm going to do some animal-focused trivia today.
Okay, what do you got?
Again.
What do you got?
All right, number 1. What baby animal is called a puggle?
Ooh. A puggle. Isn't that a dog?
No.
No, but like isn't... Oh, that's a pug.
I'm thinking of, pug.
Yeah, because that's what's like... I'm like puggle. I'm thinking of like a pug.
I could probably give fun hints for this one too without giving it away.
Puggle. Is it a... I don't want to say fish, but is it a water-dwelling animal?
Yeah, I think you can call it like a... Well, it's like a land water.
So it's amphibious.
Yeah.
Puggle. Is it like a seal?
No.
Was I close?
I think it's primarily like a land animal, but it also...
Wow.
I can give...
Yeah, give me a hint.
in a TV show,
In a TV show.
in a cartoon show, it puts a hat on. And his name's Perry.
I'm normally really good at that stuff, and I got nothing. I got static up there right now.
Perry the platypus.
I never would have gotten that. Because I completely forgot about the platypus even existed. I don't even really think about that animal. Just weird. All right, give me another one.
Yeah.
Platypus. That's so fucking random. Seriously.
How
Okay.
many hearts does an octopus have?
Oh. 2.
No.
Is it more?
Yes.
Is it a lot more? Can't be 8. 8's the legs or the tentacles.
No. Yeah, but no.
How many hearts does it have? Is that 5?
No.
More or less?
Less.
3?
Yes.
I don't even know how that works. Why do you need 3 hearts?
Oh, you got some backups.
Some backup. Do they need 3 hearts? Like, wouldn't it be nice if we had like at least 2? You know, like a backup, like the kidneys. Like you can live with 1 kidney. You don't need 2. It's nice to have 2, but you don't need 2.
Yeah, so why
Fucking
not have-
octopus has 3.
Yeah, what do you need? Fucking 8
This
tentacles?
is where the God works in mysterious ways comes into play. We get 1, but the octopus gets 3. Okay, what's next?
All right, what is the name of Dorothy's dog in The Wizard of Oz?
Toto.
Yep.
Oh come on, that one's easy.
We'll do one more because that was
too easy.
easy.
I always think of Rush Hour 2 though when I hear about Toto. Remember Rush Hour 2? He was like, in Hong Kong, I'm Michael Jackson, you're Toto. You mean Tito. Toto is what we had for dinner last night. It goes over so many people's heads. It means they're eating dog.
Let me think. Maybe I'm gonna I'll hop off the animals for a little bit here because I think we got enough animals going.
It's either like platypus, which is an animal that I barely I've thought about probably 3 times in my life, or it's like one of the most famous movies of all time where everybody knows that answer. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto.
This is a weird question that I don't think anyone would have the answer to.
Okay.
But it's funny and interesting, and you could potentially guess this one. And I don't know what, if you ask me what the reference is to this, I have no clue. I'm just going off of trivia.com. In what country does Santa wear flip-flops?
What kind of fucking question is that?
It's here. I don't know. It's fair game, right?
I mean, there's no kids watching this show because this is not a kids show, but Santa's not real. So I don't know how that can be factually based information. This is just what some idiot fucking thought of.
He's advertised in this country as wearing flip-flops. I don't.
Where, in like the Philippines?
I mean, when you hear the country, you probably be like, I could see that.
It's either going to be like Mexico or like somewhere like that, or it's going to be like somewhere over in Asia, is my guess. Like the Philippines or like Thailand.
Australia.
Australia? Yeah, I guess I can see
Quacky,
that.
mate.
I forgot all about them. They're just down there doing their thing. Yeah, all right, okay. But that's a weird one because it's like, that's not actually factual.
Right.
How do you have factual information off of something that's not
Let's
real?
get a factual one. How many countries are in Europe?
Isn't it like... trying to do like quick math.
It's divisible by 10.
Is it 60 countries?
No, it's close, but no.
I want to say it's somewhere between like 60 and 80 countries.
No, you're going the wrong way.
It's less?
Yeah.
Because I feel like they have a lot of small countries over there too. Then there's a lot of them in Eastern Europe that you kind of forget about, that you think are part of Asia, but they're not. There's some islands that are technically countries. Is it 50?
Yeah.
It's 50 countries?
50 countries.
Really? I always thought it was more than that. Because they have a lot of small countries over there too. That's a lot. Well.
We'll see how the peace talks go. That might be 49 soon.
That's true. That's true. I mean, who knows? That number could probably change. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know when this was it probably has changed, honestly, in like the 6 months this thing's been updated.
That number, yeah, that number is questionable because who knows what's going to happen, especially in the next 4 years. Who knows? I mean, there could be countries that don't exist anymore after this. Like, I don't even know. It's hard to put that information down on paper. Man. But anyway, so I'm glad we did that. We got our PCA pregame show out of the way. Again, we covered a lot on spare notes, so this was kind of a last minute follow up. There is no show next week because I'll be at the trade show. So we'll be back the week after. We'll be back the week after for our post-game show. And then we'll do a spare notes with Coop. And Coop will be there. I'll be there. Pat won't be there, but I will make sure Pat is very well informed on everything we're doing. We do have... Someone asked about the soccer roulette. I almost forgot about that. Yes, we do. And I'm pulling them up right now. And there was a few that were interesting. We have this one that I'll read. This one's from Brent, who's actually watching the show. I want to tip my hat to Steve Saka, the brilliant mind behind Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust, and a genuine force in the cigar world. Steve's journey from enthusiast to industry icon shows in every cigar he creates. His blends like Miquelef, Sobremesa, and Muestra de Saka, along with my personal favorites, the Red Meat Lovers, aren't just smokes, they're masterpieces born from his unmatched passion, deep tobacco knowledge, and bold creativity. What I love most is how he stays true to himself, unapologetic, witty, and dedicated to quality. He respects the traditions of cigar making while pushing the envelope with innovative twists. Steve's not just crafting cigars, he's telling stories through flavor and keeping the community vibrant. Big thanks, Steve, for making every light up a richer, more enjoyable experience. P.S. Please forgive me for my brutal roast in the first round, all with love. See, this is what we wanted, is people to redeem themselves for the nastiness that they had in the first round, which some of it was very creative, and I got to give you guys some credit for that. But now it's time to say something nice, and people came back. That was one of the good ones. There was another one that I saw, and I can't remember who did it. Hold on, I'm looking for it. I have there was one in here, and it was... No, that's not it. Where is it? The subject line was love story, I want to say, or Saka love letter. I'm trying to find it. Where is it?
There's one called Saka Love.
Now, I don't think that's it. I remember it was like, because I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, and then Nicole was like, are you having people write a love letter to Steve? And then I was like, what are you talking about? And then I went on and I saw them and I was like, oh shit. Maybe it was that one? But no, I feel like it was specifically labeled as a love letter. Because I remember that one. Let me make sure I didn't accidentally delete it, because we get spam in here sometimes. If not, maybe it was that one, but I'm almost positive it said Saka love letter. Unless I'm just getting it confused from when Nicole said love letter. Maybe it is. I think it is. Let me go back. I think that's the one. That one was interesting. I think it's on the second page. Now I lost my spot. Fuck. But I think maybe that is the one I'm looking for. And I said, it doesn't have to be a love letter, but definitely, say something nice about Steve. Give him something positive after everyone tore him down. Love for... Alright, so there's one of them. Love for Saka. This one comes from Jonathan Milliman. Steve, thank you for making some of the most balanced and great cigars out there. Your diverse line of cigars hits every person's possible palate. Your overall knowledge of the industry is second to none, and your reach to the common man is extensive. For that, we are all grateful. The Red Meat Lovers line is my absolute favorite, and I'm overly excited for the newest blend to come out. Stillwell, Umagog, Sobremesa, Sin Compromiso, Miquelef, and Muestra de Saka all have some of my favorite go-to cigars on a weekly basis. Thank you for not compromising quality over producing quantity. I think he wrote that wrong. And focusing on making sure each cigar is consistent. You by far, sir, are the best of the best, and there isn't anyone in the industry that I get more excited about hearing when the next product will be than you. Snicker. You get points for that. You used in Saka's verbiage. I need to include one since your hilarious social media posts usually have them. Thank you, Saka, your admirer, John. Snicker. All right, then you went too far with it. The one was good. You sprinkle it in. You don't water it down. You lose points for doing too many, so you're even again. Maybe it was this one. Sokka Love, Steve. I know you don't know me, but I have been new to your brand, and I am beyond impressed. Right now, I'm in the middle of sampling the Stillwell Star Bayou, and it's amazing.
And it's gone. Sorry.
And it's gone.
It's gone.
I just thought of that South Park episode, and it's gone.
And it's gone.
Great job on this and the Aromatic. I recently purchased a couple of boxes of Super Mesa, also very great. I gave my dad one on Thanksgiving, and he wanted a box right away. I watch your interviews, and I can definitely tell the difference in taste, quality, and branding. I am learning so much listening to you. Thank you for being involved and educating. It looks like a lot of work and repeating yourself, but it's very informative. I've never had such a great smoking experience, and I've been smoking cigars on and off for about 18 years. God bless, and enjoy your success. It's well-deserved. Dave McGann. Those were the 3 that I thought were the best.
Is there a winner today? Is that what we're doing?
There is. Those were the we're picking the winner. Those were the 3 I thought were the best. I think this one's probably my favorite, and I think it's because he's a newer Sokka guy, you know? So he's not, I mean, he kind of came out and he's like, look, you know, I'm newer to the brand and this is why I like it. Not just like, hey, I love you because like I've already been buying your shit for 10 years. Not that doesn't count, but I like how this is a newer perspective. But I do like the first guy who's like, by the way, like I roasted you hard, so I'm sorry, but like here's like my rebuttal to that. So that was like a good shot at redemption. The second guy was good, but he did too many on the Snickers. So I'm like, you tried a little too hard. The one is like he sprinkles them in. He doesn't use a lot of them. So I feel like that one kind of like was like, all right, it's too many. You're trying too hard. It wasn't natural. So for me, it's like the first one and the third one.
So I like David's because I think part of this was also this feedback. Is that what?
Yeah.
So we gave a little bit of feedback saying he repeats himself, which is valid feedback on that. It's informative. And I like with this one, I like one of the biggest compliments you can do. And I guess his situation's fortunate because it's mirroring something I did, which is when you give your father a cigar, that's a big compliment, in my opinion.
It is.
That's a big compliment. I did
That's
the
a big
same
deal.
thing. I gave my dad a Mi Querida Tricky Chaka,
Okay.
and he loved it. And then I bought him a box for Father's Day or his birthday. It was one of the two. So, and that's a big compliment to me. If you have a brand that you smoke with your father, your mother, it's a big deal. So I like that. I think this is my pick.
I think so too. He was my favorite. I really liked this one. So I think David McGann's our winner for this month for the March Soccer Roulette contest. Going with Dave. We'll reach out to him. We'll get his information. We'll give him a box of DTT and a DTT mug. Congratulations.
It's the trade show. So Dave, if you're watching this, have mercy on the shipping time, please.
I'm going to try to get it out this week just so it's over and done with. My goal with everything going on is get what I can done because trade show is next week and I'll be gone for 6 days. And whatever downtime I do have, I'm trying to get things done so that I don't have them sitting on the back burner in case the situation with anesthesia got worse or whatever. So I'm going to try to just be done with that this week. So I'll reach out to him, and when I get his information, I'm just going to be done with that and get it right out to him. But that way I don't have to worry about it with the trade show coming because I don't want to have any loose ends with the trade show coming because it's going to be stressful enough as it is. I'm going to be away from Nicole, trying to do a trade show. It's going to be just those two things. I really don't want to have anything else outside of that. But thank you for that, Pat. That is a good point, but we're going to try to get it done before that. But that's our show this week, guys. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Our coverage from the 2025 PCA Trade Show in New Orleans, brought to you by Drew Estate, the Rebirth of Cigars. All of it will be on SmokinTabacco.com, as well as our YouTube channel. We're going to be shooting some video, but we'll also have written coverage, so a little bit of both. All the links will be posted all over the place on social media. We'll make sure you guys find it all. It's going to be a great time. There'll be a lot to discuss when we get back. We'll do a post-game show. We'll do a spare note show. And then and then we'll move on with the rest of the year. So really good show. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Appreciate